Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yo, everybody. You are listening and watching Let's Go Podcast, Pop Culture Without the Pop. My name is Justin Kowalski, and I'm here with a cornucopia of my Amazonian warriors. You all didn't know there are some dudes there, but they just make lunch. And there we are, lunch for Cindy, the intern, right there. We will make you a sandwich. But hey, welcome to the show. We are going to be going deep on Wonder Woman 1984, the Christmas gift we were waiting for since last November. Here we go. We're going to get deep on it. We are going to rate it with the Let's Go podcast rating system. Boom. I'm going to hand that over to my buddy, my pal, Matt Ritchie. Tell us about that.
The Let's Go rating system. The best rating we give is gotta go. Below that is a let's go. Below that is a go. Below that is a don't go. And if things are real murky and weird and gross, it's trash juice.
Oh, yeah. Hey, y'all think we're going to have any trash juice today?
We better not.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be getting into any trash juice, but I definitely think we're going to get down and be honest about our thoughts on this movie. And you know what? I want to preface it first and say, you know, there's 8 of us here right now, and we're all probably going to have different experiences with this film. And so, hey, we're going to keep it respectful, but we're also not going to pull any punches either, right? Because like to keep it nice and honest. So right off the top, guys, thank you guys thank you for joining us. And I just want to run down everybody here who's joining us real quick right now. Matt Ritchie, he just gave us the rundown on the rating system. We got Emmett over there, the man from the north. Check him out. We got Nick Zednick, part of our vigilante podcast. Also the new Let's Go Marquee show where we go in depth on movies. We got Mr. Chris Evans, the Let's Go ass. We have Cindy the intern, always bringing the sass, and then we got Daddy Batman and Nico Caruso. So I can't help it. I call you Daddy Batman. Do you hate when people call you Daddy Batman? I don't know. I think I love it. I love it.
He doesn't want to be called Daddy.
Marquee name.
He genuinely loves it. Don't let him pull it.
Yeah, I think it's like the best nicknames are the ones that you don't give yourself. You know,
He called himself that, and it's stuck ever since. He bought it on himself.
It is a
You
great.
call me Daddy Bats.
It's a great nickname.
Like that, but that's okay. You know.
So, anyway, we're going to talk about Wonder Woman 1984, the film from Patty Jenkins from Warner Brothers, starring Gal Gadot and Chris Pine, Kristen Wiig, and Pedro Pascal. It is a movie we've all been waiting for, and so right now we are going to get into initial reactions. And first and foremost, I'm going to hand it off to our Wonder Woman.
Heck yeah.
It's Cindy.
How you doing, Cindy? Nico?
Yeah.
I would gladly take that honor, but
are you wanting like my initial rating or my initial reaction?
Your initial reactions, like, hey, no non-spoilery, but like, hey, what was your thoughts coming out the gate?
So for the whole, like, overall, or just like opening scene reactions?
Overall. Yeah.
I was underwhelmed.
Concise and overall.
I was underwhelmed. Yes, that would be the one word that fully describes my exact reactions of the movie.
Underwhelmed. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Emmett, we're gonna give it to Emmett. What you think, dude?
I was half that maybe after my first viewing. But then after my second and third viewing, I would say that I like this movie a little bit.
Oh,
he was whelmed.
Yeah, I was whelmed. Yeah, right?
And now he's like slightly more than whelmed.
Yeah. But we get more spoilers. That's fine. But yeah, I like this movie.
Okay. Hey, and that's fair. That's what I'm talking about, man. Like, it's all good to be whelmed. All right, Zeddy, what you got, dude?
I was overjoyed with this movie, and I'm actually going to plug my opening statement from my review.
Yeah,
that just came up because I think that is the perfect initial reaction for me, and that is, in a year filled with hardship, pain, and loss, Wonder Woman 84 just proved to be the movie that came out at the right time, and that just the overall themes of hope, optimism, and seeing the good in each other is just truly what I needed right now. And I gotta be honest, the whole time I'm watching it, I wish I was in the theater with my large popcorn and my soda, with some strangers, socially distanced, of course.
Just with some strangers. Wait,
yeah.
if you're gonna go to the absolute best way to watch a film, you need strangers. Like for no social distancing, right?
You do. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, right now you need a little.
All
social
right.
distancing,
Thought
but
you were dreaming.
yeah,
bro.
I mean, there were just certain moments in this movie that even on my beautiful 70-inch 4K TV, I still would have
Nice, dude.
still would have loved to see it on a big screen. And maybe if Justin allows me, I will elaborate. But
Yeah.
let's get into it, fellas.
Yeah. All right. My buddy Matt Ritchie, what'd you think, buddy?
I liked it, did not love it. That's all I'll say.
That's all you got.
I thought, well, we'll get more into the details, but I really appreciated what it was trying to communicate. I think how it was communicating that was where it starts to fall apart a little bit for me.
Really fair. That's fair. All right, let's go to Chris Evans.
It's flawed, but I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I think that it's a good time.
Yeah. All right. Look at that. Ready to go. Flawed. Good time. Just like Daddy Batman. All right.
What an introduction! He's on, but it's time.
Wow.
I wouldn't even know how to respond to that.
Listen, I'm going to say this. I was actually pleasantly surprised. It was better than I thought it was going to be.
Wow. Okay.
You know, just from like what we knew about it. I did enjoy the trailers and all that, but right before we watched it, some of that negativity was filtering on down. So I was surprised. It was much better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Let's get into it.
Wow. There we go, man. All right.
Wonderful.
Wonder.
Love
All
it.
puns
Love it.
intended. Call me Zeddy Caruso for the day. Wonderful.
All right, so those are our initial reactions for Wonder Woman 1984. Let's get into what worked, because I want to actually like celebrate a little bit, and then we'll jump into what didn't work, and then we'll move into like our final overall ratings, and we can get into like the minutia of the film. Actually, I listened to the Vigilante episode today. It's a really good episode on breaking it down, and I actually thought what I appreciate in critiquing these films is when we're able to be objective. I think objectivity is huge, like to not just say, oh, it's the best thing ever because I love DC movies and I love Wonder Woman. Like, I think if you truly love something, you go, man, that didn't work, and I didn't like that. That's where my initial reaction is. I liked the film. I thought it was fun, but there definitely were parts where it didn't work for me, and we'll get into that. So what worked? I'll start with what worked. I think Gal Gadot works every time. You can't help but love her as Wonder Woman. She's not bad in the whole movie, and you guys are talking about maybe she had some of her best acting. I would agree. I think she was really strong in this movie. I really enjoyed her chemistry again with Chris Pine's great. I love her and Kristen Wiig as Cheetah. Like, all that's great. I can't say anything bad about that. It looks good. The acting and the performances were all good. That's, I think, all I can say as far as like what I thought worked really well, because everything that didn't work has to do with the story and the way things played out. And so let's go. I want to hear from Emmett. What worked for you, buddy?
Yeah, I'll double down on what you said. Gal Gadot as, I think, maybe even more of Diana Prince than Wonder Woman in this one. I think she really filled out the Diana Prince shoes, whereas in like the first one, she's basically, Diana Prince at the start of the movie and at the end, like those BVS wrap up kind of things with the picture from Batfleck. So I think her being Diana Prince was something that I really not connected with, but how I connected with her character in the movie. Yeah. And I don't want to, I wonder about the screen time for it too. Like, I wonder how much of the first half of her being Diana Prince and then the last half of her being Wonder Woman. I wonder how close they are together. I think another thing that on the opposite side that I liked was Pedro Pascal. This was something that I'd never seen him play before. Such a different type of character from, Game of Thrones or what we've seen on Mando. Like the goofiness and the campiness and the ridiculousness of Pedro Pascal really came out for me in his character. And like, I felt for his character a lot, especially towards the end with the stuff with his son. So that's probably why it also hit with me a little bit more, the father-son thing that his character had. So I go with the main hero in Wonder Woman and the main villain in Pedro Pascal. That would work for me.
Awesome. All right. Eric just jumped into the stream. I'm gonna go straight to Eric, man. What worked for you, dude? This guy saw it in an actual theater.
I know.
Yes.
Coming straight out of Gotham, Eric Holzman.
Yes, I did. I did. I watched it in the theater. What worked for me? Let me
Did
think.
you have to wear a
about
hazmat suit when you walked in? Did they put
no
helmet on you?
hazmat. No, it's about you're only allowed 25% capacity, and I would say about 75% of that 25% was filled. I went to an 11 o'clock showing too, so it was pretty full for Christmas morning. There was a lot of people at the movie theater.
Yeah,
but yeah, the thing that worked for me the most is, and I've said this immediately, was Cheetah, was the whole Cheetah character. I thought Kristen Wiig was incredible. I don't know if she got enough screen time, but I thought that for a comedic actress, anytime I see a comedic actress or comedian do a kind of serious role, I always kind of want to watch and see how they navigate that. And I thought she was excellent. I mean, she played the nerdy Barbara Minerva well, and then she also played, Cheetah well when she finally did the transformation towards the end. So she was the highlight of the film for me. Obviously, Gal Gadot is just, she's perfect in the role. She's great. So she'll work for me no matter what. Like just put her on Wonder Woman and I'm good. But yeah, the other thing that worked for me was Kristen Wiig's Cheetah.
Yeah, I would say most comedic actors, when they jump into a role like this, like Kristen Wiig, she's been in other films where like what was it, Whip It, and then even in The Martian, she can play straight, and I've never like seen a comedic actor jump into a dramatic role and not do a great job. Robin Williams, stuff like that. Even Adam Sandler was able to do it. I don't know. I mean, like, if you don't like Uncut Gems, I thought he was great in that, but that's a whole other show.
We're not going to get into that right now.
It's a great movie, man. Yeah,
I love the show. Let's go podcast 69. Let's go. Let's just
we'll do that. We'll do on that one. Yeah. But anybody else? Any other thoughts about what worked, guys? Jump on in. It's a free for all now, guys. It's a free for all.
I would say obviously we could talk about Gal and Chris Pine, but I actually thought the plot and the theme, the 80s theme, really worked well.
Really? Okay.
I mean, I completely understood what they were going for with that decade of self-indulgence. And, and again, I mean, you had to let yourself believe, but if you could believe in the Infinity Stones, it's not a stretch to believe in the Dreamstone. I mean, this is a comic book movie. So,
yeah.
I mean, how about, right?
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that because I'll go on for 30 minutes about how the plot is silly, yet you just watched a film where we cried and there were 5 of them. Never mind. For me, a lot of it worked. And actually, yet all these deeper comic book films are the ones that are ripped, which is so interesting to me. The themes hit so well because not only in the 80s time period was that relevant, it's relevant right now in terms of what we want, what we desire as human beings. Look how people are responding to COVID. There's people still going out. There's people not wearing masks because they want, they desire. And in Diana's case, it was so beautiful. Someone who has all these powers, someone who spent 60 years liberating and helping with the photos at the concentration camp. It was all wonderful. And yet she's so human because the one thing she wants is Steve back. If I had the stone, I would wish for our grandpa back. I would. We all would. Everyone on this single chat would wish for someone back or something back that we lost. And it doesn't mean we depend on it. It's just we want it. Human beings by nature we desire. We're never satisfied. It's instinctual. And as we developed, it became worse. So that whole theme of no one's really a villain in here. And I think that's beautiful. I mean, a little bit of Cheetah's motivations at the beginning were murky for me just because they did the whole frizzy hair glasses thing, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Jamie Foxx thing, and we're supposed to feel for her because they stereotypically make her look like a nerd. They could have done it in a much better way. I'll knock Patty for that. But even like Pedro Pascal, like just wanting to be a better father, just being this person of power, just being cool, being impressive to his son. And when we start getting, we want more. We are never satisfied whatsoever. If I win $1 million tomorrow, I'm going to want to try to win 2 million and 3 million. That's just how we are. So maybe some of the pacing, some of the actual execution of certain things may not have worked, but the whole thing she's trying to communicate, what Patty Jenkins set out to do, absolutely lands 100% if you let yourself understand what's going on. And if you're not worried about certain other things, which are valid, like there's lack of action. Sure. We are oversaturated with that by nature. So we want more of that. What she set out to do with this movie absolutely lands 100% of the time. And I'm seeing a lot of repeat viewings. More people come around to it on a repeat viewing. It seems the repeat viewings only improve, not crucify. And that, I think, says a lot about the actual message. And when you can peel back all the rest of expectation of what we want going into it as an audience, I think it all lands very, very well. Sorry to rant, but
no, that's okay.
That wasn't 30 minutes. I want another.
Yeah, so
go check out the show. Go check out the.
You just be quiet the rest of the time.
I won't talk the rest of the show now because that's
there
actually what I wanted to say.
That's your plug.
I would say what worked, I did not notice in the first watching, but in the second watching, I felt it more. But just like the emotional aspects of the movie, I did not connect the first time I watched. And it could have just been that I watched it on Christmas Day and it was just kind of a hard day. And so I was already like emotionally spent. But like when I rewatched it yesterday, it definitely felt more than I did my first watch. And like, I have to say, it is hard to, I mean, maybe it's not as hard this year to like emotionally.
Oh
no, she cut herself off.
That didn't work.
I think Justin actually just kicked her out.
No, hands right here. Hands right here. I don't know what happened. She's been jumping in and out, so I think she has a weird connection. But I'm gonna jump into my other guy, Pete, coming straight out of Gotham as well. Pete here.
Eric,
Pete.
I haven't talked to you in like 15 minutes.
I know.
They just wrapped the show. Pete, what worked for you with Wonder Woman, bro? What worked?
About 2 hours and 30 minutes of the film. I don't understand all the hatred, not hatred, but just all the disconnect with a lot of people. I mean, is it as good as the first movie? No, but like, is it a awesome, badass superhero movie? Hell yeah. Like, I don't get it. I had a blast with this movie from the opening at Themyscira to the end credit scene or post credit scene, whatever, to that scene. I mean, it was just fun for me. I don't get it. I enjoyed everything from Pascal. Wig stole the show. Could there have been more Cheetah? Yeah, sure. But what I got was more than enough. I dug the whole thing, man. So the fact that they're fast tracking Wonder Woman 3, I'm like, yes, awesome. Like, she deserves it. Way to go. I just don't want this to be like a scenario where they fast track it and they're not prepared to allow Batman and Robin. Like, I still, I just get a little weary with that stuff, but I got full faith. She knows what she's doing. Her and Johns seem to already have like the plot outlined and it's just all dialogue at this point. But I mean, I'm just ready. I mean, my biggest problem with Wonder Woman 84 is the lack of Etta Candy. That's really it. Like, it was awesome for me.
Hey, that's you just have to concede that that's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's cool. I mean, look, they brought back Steve Trevor, which like is an amazing feat in itself. I was like, okay, wow. Like for me, I was like, you guys pulled it off. I don't know.
She should have just had like our family, the Candies serve, the Trevors, or they serve, Godot. They could have had Greta Candy. She could have showed up.
Isn't that kind of what they did in the old TV show? Wasn't it like Steve Trevor's like great nephew?
Yeah, like when they went from World War II to modern time. Yeah.
So I mean, like, yeah, sure, that's like traditional Wonder Woman, just craziness. So like, I'm all for it if they want to do that. If they want to bring in like, I don't know, Chris Pine again and make him his great nephew, like, or whatever, grandson. I don't care. Because it's the chemistry between the two of them is just so amazing. And it's like, wow, like I'm just happy we got 2 movies of that. And one of my favorite parts was just like, I loved how he was the fish out of water in this movie. You know, I like how he had the wardrobe scene and he was all about like the fanny pack because it was like, oh, look, it's standard issue. It's got the flag on it. This is like military grade. I love it. You know, I was all about that. And his love for Pop-Tarts just resonated with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Did they market Wonder Woman 1984 Pop-Tarts? Because that's the.
I mean, I'm sure they did in like June.
I haven't seen it.
Well, if they did it, it would have been in like
now.
March or April before the movie came out. So
Pre-pandemic.
it's possible.
Yeah. They had. Did they do Cheetos? Because man, having Cheetos.
They did Doritos.
Doritos.
All over Doritos. Which
Yeah.
if I'm Doritos,
Yeah, but Cheetos.
I'm bummed out.
Cheetos.
Yeah.
I don't know
Maybe
why
that's
they
too on the
do
nose.
like.
If I'm
Flaming hot.
Doritos, I'm like, why didn't Pop-Tarts get a reference and we didn't? Like, we paid money. Like, we had to hold the eagle on the bag.
That's like when someone's got an echo here. That's like when what is it? Ninja Turtles were like Domino's was in the movie, but pizza had the
But
thing.
no one in the tri-state area respects Domino's.
Yeah, you go to Joe's Pizza. That's where you get some pizza.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Go to Joe's. Hey, Vinny's down the street.
there's plenty of those too.
Vinny's, Anthony's, Luigi's,
Vito. What about Vito?
Oh yeah,
Uncle
Vito.
Vito. He's got
Vito's
a
is the
pizza.
best.
Pick an Italian name. There's a pizza.
There you
place.
go.
Pizza place. All right.
Pretty much.
Let me, Chris. What worked for you, man?
I liked most of it, like I said, most of it. But one of the things that worked for me, Pete just kind of touched on it, the Steve Trevor stuff.
Yeah.
I really like that they used another person, like his soul or whatever it was, just when it's this other guy's body, as opposed to, oh, here's Steve Trevor magically resurrected, you know, Ra's al Ghul style. So I really like that. That was pretty cool. I like the action a lot. Nobody's really mentioned that. The action was really well done for what we get. I didn't really care for the mall scene, but other than that, I was pretty on board with the action.
Yeah.
I love Pedro Pascal. Loved him in this movie. That quote, "It is good, but it can be better." That's not going to go away
No.
anytime soon, and I hope it doesn't.
We're gonna get
I
lots
need
of
a
memes. I
t-shirt.
think we're gonna have memes about.
Oh yeah,
that
the
one.
memes are going crazy
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
Oh, Riz, I haven't seen any of the memes yet.
Yeah.
They're funny.
All right. Hey, I want to tag Cindy back in since she
Yeah.
got knocked off.
What happened, Cindy? Where did you go?
She hates us.
Maxwell Lord took over
was
her
on a
screen.
I was on. He didn't like my responses.
Your wish sucked.
I was on my laptop, and for some reason, my laptop kicks me off of StreamYard over and over and over again. I don't know what happened, but if I do it on my like desktop, it doesn't have that issue. So,
No worries.
anyways, I was talking about like Sass is alive. The emotional connection was what I thought worked the most,
Yeah.
and I would agree with Chris. Like the action that we did get, I did enjoy.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really the like superhero action movie that I don't think it hit the same as the first one. Like as the first Wonder Woman.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Matt, what worked for you, buddy? What was the stuff that worked the best for you?
I appreciated. Yeah, I think I would agree with Nico. I think the themes like seemed more consistent. Like they had something like, because when I go back to the first Wonder Woman movie, I loved it overall. But when she randomly at the end is like, "I believe in love," and I was like, "Wait, what? Where did that come from?" Like that hasn't been shown like the whole rest of the movie. And this felt like the exact opposite, where I'm like, they set up right from the beginning, like when she got stopped from winning the contest as a kid. Like, no, like we don't take shortcuts. Like you have to. The truth is all we have, and the truth is beautiful. I think like right is what they end up saying. I was like, cool. Like I saw a consistency in that I appreciated. And also I just thought there were a lot of really good like comedic moments. I mean, you're going to get that with, I think, the people you have in there, but especially like he was talking about with the fish out of water stuff with Steve was great. I think a lot of like 80s nods that were completely lost on my kids, but I appreciated. I also thought that what ended up being, so it started as something that I like wasn't completely on board with the dad angle with Max Lord. I was like, wait, what? Where that ended though at the end, like as a dad, like I was just like, yeah, you got me in the dad feels. And he was like, well, you're my daddy and I love you. And I'm like, dang it. Okay. You got me.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, like, I think, there was a lot to enjoy as far as just general, like it's one of those movies you feel good at the end of it for the most part. Like you're not able to put your finger on exactly why, but you're like, yeah, that was good. That was a fun time.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Wonder Woman 1984 definitely was a good time, and I really enjoyed like I said, enjoyed the performances and stuff. I actually thought there was enough action. Like I saw some of the criticisms on action, and I'm like, man, it starts off with a giant, Amazonian action piece, like a race, competitions between Amazons, all that. Then you have the mall scene, which, it wasn't my favorite, but I mean, there was definitely her, whipping people up with the lasso and flipping that all over the place. So I thought that was cool. I love the scene in Egypt where she's rolling down her, and that whole scene was rad, dude. I thought that was a great scene. And then, the next, I don't know, like the fight in the White House. So I thought there was tons of action in this film. I don't know how much more action you needed. I mean, she didn't need to be doing backflips through the whole film. Like I thought at one point I was like, when is she going to put the Wonder Woman suit on? And then she did. I said to my wife, I was like, when is Wonder Woman going to show up? And then there she is. She's like putting it on in the car, which that looks like a very awkward suit to put on in a car. Like I can't even put my shoes on in the car without getting all hot and bothered. I don't know how she puts
on, man.
Like metal boots, man. She's like metal boots. She's like, I'll put these on right now, So
it sounded like you were like Russian.
I don't know, man. I don't do so good. The only accent I do good is Pete.
Very nice.
One accent.
Very nice.
That's really that's his one accent.
That's all
I
I
want to
got.
defend the mall scene. I love the mall scene. That's that scene to me is the 1984 scene of the film.
Yeah.
And
that's when you see it the most, right?
Right. And you get her expansive, like her powers now. You're seeing all of them. Yeah. Right. And there are nods in that theme to the 77 Wonder Woman show. Especially the tiara when she takes it and throws it and knocks out all the like that was a big part of the 70s show that was on the Wonder Woman show. Yeah. So there's a lot of that scene that I think includes the throwbacks, you're thinking of the 80s, the mall, the way the guys were dressed, the robbers were dressed was hysterical. It was like oh yeah, it's crazy. And I think that was probably like the most lighthearted part of the movie, I would say. So I think we got a little bit of a that was kind of a love letter, I think, to that time period. Just her, Patty throwing it in there for that effect.
That scene to me just screams Superman 2. Like I just get like vibes of the Kryptonian fight in the middle of the city. I've heard some people compare it to Superman 3 and how it's like, I don't want to remember that. But then like
Gus.
I'm like, it's more Superman 2 than Superman 3 because I feel like it takes itself a little bit more seriously than, roller skating around and getting ice cream in your face. I feel like that's a lot of Superman 3.
Yeah. I wish the scene was a little more earnest. I ain't gonna lie. I thought it was a little too the tone. That's the one thing in the whole movie. I think after you move out of the mall, it becomes a little more like a straightforward. Like it fits the world that was established in the previous film. The mall scene's the one that feels a little too winky, and she winks all over the place. Like you're just waiting for her to like wink, So that's my only criticism of it. I think the scene's great. Like, okay, there's a robbery and she's in the mall and she's knocking cameras out with her tiara. Like, oh, that's great. But I think it felt like it did feel maybe it was too much like a Superman. Because I'm not a fan of those early Superman movies, and crucify me for it. But it's just too like, oh, I'm gonna go save a cat. I'm like, yeah, Superman, dude, he busts through walls and bends guns. Like he's got no time for cats, That's a whole other conversation. But like, I just don't like that. I just didn't like it. I didn't like that approach. I liked what happened. I don't like how it went down. The fumbling, the guy was just waiting to drop his gun. Like, oh, I dropped my gun.
Well, that's because his dumb partner just like slammed him in the gut with all these.
I know, but it was just like he's got a gun.
It did like that.
And like these security guards, they've got guns everywhere. I'm like, please don't start shooting.
Was that a thing in the 80s? Did security guards in malls have guns? Was that
No, they could carry if you had open carry. If you have a license.
I don't know. I don't ever remember that.
I know it's a movie. I'm just curious.
That's because you were too busy with all the chicks.
You're too busy with all the chicks.
Daddy Batman was rolling, dude. He
I
was
said the mall.
pulling up in
Daddy
Camaros.
Batman.
You went
Van
for love.
Halen.
You went to find love in the mall. That's what I always said. So, yeah.
He rolls up to the food
Hey,
court. And he's
remember
all.
Victoria's Secret?
Eric, do you remember? You're the only other guy here that remembers the '80s a little bit.
Just
or no?
no,
I
just
remember the
those two.
'80s, but I don't remember.
do.
I don't remember security guards having guns.
No, I don't. I don't remember that either.
I remember Swatch watches and
Yeah.
Man,
You know.
I'd like
My
to get
best
like
friend-
one DC movie out of the way where we don't talk about tone. You know, it's just like
Oh god.
we just get there, whether it's good or bad. I
This
just like
movie
to
had
be
yeah, I know. All right,
Like that's a buzzword for a DC film now. Like,
Tone, yeah.
want to not
Wow.
like it. It's like the tone, weak script. It's like the buzzword.
Jeff
You know
Johns.
what you mean by that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jeff
Yeah.
Johns.
yeah, Jeff Johns.
That's a huge buzzword, yes.
Please.
If his name's in the
Oh
credits,
my-
Jeff Johns.
His
Just
fingerprint.
hating a producer.
His fingerprints are all over this. Can you believe that she flew in this?
Okay, let's
That was my favorite part of the movie.
let's
Can
jump
you
into
believe
that.
they made Wonder Woman fly?
Y'all, Wonder Woman flies.
Yep.
She flies. She's been flying for a long time.
Long time, yes. Long
Yeah.
time.
Balls with style in this one. but-
Yeah, but women shouldn't be flying. Come on.
Okay.
Apparently not. Apparently not. You know.
Dude, some fans have only
I-
been around since 2013, so you got to figure.
Yep.
And they
There
even
you
made
go.
her do the pose. The
Yeah,
her
you got-
flying pose is always the same. It's that whole thing.
Oh,
They
yeah.
made her do that.
I love the
Yeah.
flying.
Yeah.
That was my
I
favorite
like
part of the movie.
flying. I enjoy
Yeah,
the flying.
I
I was
love-
not
yeah.
offended by the flying, but I'm also not a dude who's offended about female superheroes. So
Well, no, I was
There's
joking because she flies, but Snyder fans don't think she flies. 'cause
Right.
She hasn't flown. Yeah.
no, I know. I'm just
Clarify
saying,
for the
like,
comments.
typically the
Yeah.
people that were like throwing fits about her like riding the lightning were dudes that are in their basement just mad about female superheroes. Like,
It's the same dudes who are like, she doesn't have the sword and the shield. It's not
Yeah.
a warrior.
yeah, or whatever else. And it's just like, y'all want to pick the wrong battles. Like,
Yeah.
it's like
That's
just
funny.
just keep your
You know,
mouth
can I
shut and
add,
enjoy
like,
it.
The
Yeah,
the
jump
way
in.
they
Yeah.
even did that, like even if you had a problem with her flying, which is dumb, even if you had that, I think the way they tied that in, with Steve,
Yes.
actually, I thought was
Yes.
Yeah.
really a beautiful moment, and it was
Yeah.
a way to like honor him. And I think the other thing about it, so I love that about it, but I love that it's like she's not really, almost in a way they're explaining why she's flying. She's not really flying. She's learning how to like ride the air or whatever, which I'm like, that's what they've talked about her doing for years and years and years and years, be like propelling herself through like Superman. But I think it was a different way of flying, which I thought was really cool. I thought it was a great moment. I actually forgot to say
Yeah.
that earlier when I talked about what I thought worked. Like that, I thought was pretty fantastic.
It's
Yeah,
funny
it
because
was.
that moment leads up to like literally my only real nitpick of the movie is just like, well, what's the deal with the goal? Like, really, like, so you fly to your apartment to get the eagle armor, but like, what's the point of the eagle armor? Like, you don't know about cheating yet, so you don't. Do you know you need it? Like, I'm just. That's my only problem
Yeah,
with the movie.
That's
is just
true.
the
That's
purpose.
fair.
And don't get me wrong, like
Sitting up.
if you see the shelf, she's flying above me. Like I got her behind me. Like I love the action figure I have. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. Thank you, Todd McFarlane. Like no issues adding it to the collection. It looks great. But it just feels. It's like I said this on the Straight Outta Gotham show. Like it's like Man of Steel when Superman enters the Kryptonian spaceship, and then all of a sudden there's a red and blue suit
Yeah.
out of nowhere on the spaceship, and it's like. But all they do is wear brown armor and black undersuits. So it's like,
Yeah, where did it come from? Yeah.
Technically, she would know about. She wouldn't know that she was like full cheetah, but she would know that Barbara had powers.
yeah, I mean, they just
Yeah,
fought.
she
She
had-
just
Yeah,
beat
she
the
had
crap out of
just
her in the
fought
White
her.
House.
So it's not like she didn't know about
Is
that.
she
She
Barbara's
obviously
there
didn't.
though. Like, I feel like she doesn't really know Barbara's really there. Am I forgetting a little bit? But don't know.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
sure she
so
saw
she already
them
renounced her,
exit
literally healed
together.
within seconds. Running
yeah,
down the
so
street.
she's at full strength at this point. Like Steve's
Yeah.
gone. She's upset. She's flying. Her powers are up to full strength, and now she's just unlocked a new one. So that's like my only issue is just like what's the deal
Yeah.
with the armor? Like I was
I don't
kind of
think she
concerned
did.
that it was an action figure thing, but I don't care. I bought it. I love it.
To be fair, like
Don't
when,
pay for it.
I don't know why she puts it on. Like there's the whole story. Me and Pete talked yesterday about it, and I kind of wish that she knew of the, like, maybe there was a quest going on. I think my biggest issue with the film was I wanted there to be a little more of an Indiana Jones film to it. I wanted Barbara to be discovering this thing out, on a dig or something. And in the midst of that,
the third one goes.
Well, I don't know regardless, who knows? Regardless, like I wanted Barbara to not be so goofy, Like I just thought, hey, I wanted her having a jealousy with Wonder Woman's cool, but I don't know, just the whole, like, we already talked about that. But what I was getting at was it would have been cool if Wonder Woman, like, in some type of journey or something, came across freaking Linda Carter and she bestowed it. If you're gonna do like the cameo, like make the cameo like integral to the plot. Like, because at the end, it was nice that Eric's like, nah, like she winks at the end, and you see her like, when they have the history lesson. We got the DC history lesson here. When you get the history lesson of what was her name again? Aletha or something?
Asteria. I just called her Astro by mistake.
Like when you first see her, I'm like, ooh, that's Linda Carter. That's what I said to my wife. And she's like, you knew about this in your nerd stuff. I was like, no, I didn't. I honestly didn't know.
That's awesome.
I didn't. I figured.
I watched it today, and I was looking for it, and like I could see it in her eyes, knowing I'm looking for it. But I was like, wow. I was like, I didn't recognize that.
I mean, I remember them eyes.
The gold statue at the end of the Olympics, so it's like kind of teased, and like Apollo talks about, Asteria, and I'm kind of with you. I wish there was a little bit more of that, but I'm not going to let that deter the film from how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, again, my nitpicks are the stuff I wrote, in my brain after I watched it. I'm like, oh, I wish they would have done that, just because it for me it would help piece it together more. But as I thought about the film and kind of processed it, and I kind of rewatched a little bit of it. I couldn't watch all of it over again. I did, my criticisms weren't so heavy, but my main issues still remain. Like, I wish Cheetah had a better ending. I feel like she was just gone. That was it. There was no real point for her to, besides her teaming up with Max Lord at the end, kind of like,
dude, she's the Black Manta of this movie.
Yeah, and I think so, but I think in Aquaman they handled it better. Like here, you're like, well, what happened? She was just laying there on the ground, and then next thing you know, it would have been really cool. Sorry, we can jump into like what didn't work right now, or free for all, whatever you want to talk about. But what I didn't like was, there wasn't a resolution with Cheetah. I would have loved if Diana reasoned with her, help me stop him. He's crazy. He's destroying it, and then like they team up, kind of, huh?
They actually did that in the
but it would have been nice if like Cheetah showed a little bit of humanity there, and then zipped off at the end, huh?
I dig, like, dude, I'm thinking at the end of this movie, Cheetah's like, you took this from me. I finally had everything I wanted, and I didn't want to give it up. And you, Diana, you Wonder Woman, you took this for I just feel like it sets her up for at least another.
That would have been good. I would have liked that too. I would have liked some type of conversation.
I got it from the look in her eyes. Yeah. Like, Wig killed it in this role. Like, she was just aces. Like Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns, from like moment she's on the screen.
Yeah,
she was great. Take your eyes off her,
and she was great.
We don't know if she renounced her wish.
I don't think she did.
She didn't. She plugged her ears too as the broadcast is going out. Yeah. So like her wish wasn't renounced. Yeah.
So listen,
her wish wasn't renounced. It was Maxwell Lord's wish that he become the Cheetah that was renounced.
Right.
So she's still the person before Cheetah.
Proto Cheetah.
Yeah, proto Cheetah, right?
But and I guess that would also mean she could be in the present day and not age.
That's correct. I was just going to say that, Chris, because obviously it's going to be much further into the future, hopefully present day.
Yeah.
That would make perfect sense, right?
Yeah. It'd be awesome if she went over some kind of expedition.
Where was that?
I was supposed to have taken that time. Sorry, go ahead, Pete.
No, like I'm thinking, like at least at some point we're gonna see her go on like an expedition, and it'll be even more Indiana Jonesy. Like she's at like some temple and she's learning about human sacrifices and what she's got to do to obtain this mythological figure of Cheetah again. Like I'm just thinking of like George Perez type stuff, like really delving deep into that Greek mythology.
Yeah,
I think what you're saying, Justin, could happen in the third movie, because I don't think she can be a big bad on her own.
Yeah,
so I think she's going to be manipulated.
I think she could.
I think she'll be manipulated in the third movie by like Cersei, maybe.
Yeah,
and then maybe wind up being an ally to Diana after that. So Patty definitely said she left it ambiguous for a reason. You know,
Yeah.
she said that in a couple interviews, so I'm pretty sure that we're going to see her again.
Well, we're gonna get the Legion of Doom film, right, with Eisenberg,
Yeah.
Black Mana.
Hey, you know
Doesn't it
what?
feel like it's setting up to that?
I hope
A lot of
we
those
do it one
Jokers
day.
coming back.
I hope we do one day. 'cause
And
that
we'll
would
see
be
her.
fun.
We'll probably see her in Spider-Man 3 too, so it's okay.
That's my second joke. That's gonna be my second joke.
Oh, that's funny.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that was good.
I would love just an amazing, just all out brawl between the two of them. Just Apex Predator versus the Warrior Prince. You know, like
Yeah, that's her
it just-
main
I feel like we
nemesis,
haven't
so-
gotten like a fight like that since Man of Steel, and like everyone was so worried about that the last time. It was like destruction porn. Oh god.
Yeah.
You know,
No, they're very
the one time
careful
I
about
defended
going to
X-Men.
desolated areas now. They're like,
Yeah,
fly
they-
very
they're-
far to an island where no one lives.
Yeah.
And they always announce it beforehand, right?
Yeah.
They always let
It's
let you know.
uninhabited.
Yeah. The president's all, we have a studio on an uninhabited island. Oh, okay.
But it's
An
oh man,
abandoned oil rig. That's where they are, where there's no people.
No one.
God help us.
All right,
just
Zeddy,
explosions everywhere.
give me some thoughts, man. You've been uncomfortably quiet.
Bring the tissues out, man. Like we
Bring,
got
yeah, bring,
earlier.
because
Yeah, man.
let me tell you, Zeddy wrote a really great review
Yeah.
on
thank you.
Let's Go Podcast.com. Check out the reviews. But you really tapped into the heart of the film. So take us back. Take us negative creeps, namely just me and Eric, probably. And a little bit of Matt Ritchie, who hates DC. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my god. Put him out there in the world like that.
Look, he got Wonder Woman
hey,
right there.
That's Emmett's moniker for Matt.
Mhm.
by the
Yeah, there
way.
she is. That's Wonder Woman.
Marvel only.
Yeah. So bring us to a soft place. Take us to a gentle place. I mean, you were with Gal, right?
Do you have a restraining order on you, Nick? Or-
Nick can know.
Is it there in the background? Oh.
It's in the process.
Yeah.
Nick, talk about the scene, the great
They,
scene.
things a little bit slow right now at the court, so you know. Just,
Pandemic.
I'm
stay
happy
tuned, yeah.
that COVID has
Yeah.
been happening because his
Yeah.
restraining order has been put on the back burner.
What a horrible
good
time right now.
lord. Okay,
All right.
wow.
All right,
yeah.
go Zeddy, go.
So I don't have too much that I actually didn't really like. I thought the whole ideas of like greed and what it does to the average person was really relatable. So I don't really have any like major nitpicks and gripe except maybe with just some of the pacing that went on, which again, a nitpick. For me, I love the third act. I love the whole plead with humanity. It's sort of using the lasso of truth as a symbol of hope.
Yeah.
For people, I thought that was so brilliant because I was really looking for the ground and pound like we mostly get. I thought it was a brilliant way to kind of end it with like a very hopeful one and have Wonder Woman be what she is, which is the hopeful figure for humanity. But I love that third act so much when Steve, or as I call him, Chris Trevor, just pulls Diana off to the side and she's just like, it's okay to let me go. And it hit me so hard because it was like, it was more than just Diana letting him know that I may never have love again. It was about that Diana's love for humanity is stronger than her love for Steve. And because Diana didn't think that she can fly without Steve, she flies stronger without him than she does with him. When she's gliding in the air and she's flying, it's just like no man's land. And it's why I got a little bit of heat from my two co-hosts. When I said that, I thought the scene was more impactful than a no man's land because I felt that like a hero was literally being born in front of my eyes. She was accepting humanity. And I think by the third film, humanity is going to accept her because much like I thought Superman was going to be, this is the pillar of the DC universe. And Lord Almighty, I hope that the third movie is this hopeful, inspirational figure that the world needs because I thought we're set up beautifully. So hopefully that puts us on the right track.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I agree with that. I agree with that whole flying sequence. It was 100%. It was like awe-inspiring. That was the heroic superhero uplifting part of the film. Sorry, jump in there, Emmett.
I was going to agree with Nick. Like the movie really hits for me when Steve Trevor, Chris Pine isn't there.
Oh,
You know, I did not like his
Jealous?
character in
No.
this movie. Jealous. I did not like his character at all in this movie, and
Oh.
I think the movie is better when he's not in it. You know, Chris Pine's awesome. He's a great actor and he's a great Steve Trevor. But you know, once he goes away and they say their goodbye, which is awesome, she is a better person. She's, you know, there's more action with her in it, and I felt like the whole time that he was in it, all he was doing was just following her around. You know, beating up a couple bad dudes, you know, in another guy's body. You know, they could have killed this guy. He would have been dead. You know, she also has sex with him for some, you know, it's another guy's
Clearly
body.
him.
Anyways, exactly. It's not,
It's
it's
that other
not
poor guy.
exactly.
He doesn't
Yeah,
even know.
poor guy. Yeah. Poor
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, but he doesn't even know.
Exactly. So I really loved when they said their goodbyes and like they talked about the flying scene. I think I agree with Nick that it's better than No Man's Land for me.
No, it's not. Okay, continue.
For me, Eric.
there you go.
For me.
Thank you.
You know what? I want to
you.
talk about Steve Trevor though. The one thing I didn't like, if this is a wish, then why couldn't it just be him there? Like, why did it have to? I don't know if I liked his essence taking over another body. I'm like, if you're gonna go for the whole wish thing, just, you know, pop that dude from the timeline. Like, oh, I just showed up in my flight outfit, like right before I blew up. You know, like,
Yeah, and why is it that guy?
yeah, why? Yeah, that's the only part.
I think it was just an
Because he's been
easier
decaying for
solution.
how many
Should've been-
years?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Come out
actually
of the ground and be all
I actually
blew
zombified
up.
and
Can I just
What?
Well, I actually feel like that's more convoluted though. Like, wait,
Really?
you're looking at him and in his face is like, bloop, 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 bloop. And it's like, oh, like
the
I
guy
don't
looked
know.
like Lyle Wagner though. Like, let's be honest.
that's
He
funny.
does. He looks like Lyle Wagner.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right, what were you saying, Cindy?
I really wish he wasn't in the movie. Like, and I love their whole romance thing, but I am so over every single female superhero having to have some dude in her movie that brings her forward as a hero. Like, it's,
I don't think it's that simple.
I don't know if that was
We
it.
talked about
I'm
this,
just
right?
saying,
You and
I know we already talked
Yeah.
about it. I know.
Yeah.
I know we
I don't
have
think it's
differing opinions, but I'm just saying, like, I can look at, like, it's fine. The first movie, like, there was a lot of stuff that happens with her, like, but it's like, it's almost the same trope. It's like he says goodbye to her and she realizes that she's just amazing. And it's like he says goodbye to her again and she just realizes, like, how important she is. And it's just like, she should just know. They literally are on an island with no men. Like, I don't understand.
That's
like,
why, but that's he was her first love. She experienced love and she didn't know how to reconcile not having her love.
She never experienced that before, so
And
that's
so
why.
he
No,
actually
I
showed
get it. I am
like,
just over it. Like,
he doesn't, but I mean,
We definitely can't do it in part 3 though, so you're gonna get your
yeah,
wish.
I don't think it's a smash against like her as a
Are you
woman.
sure?
I don't think it's a
Oh, they
I don't
can't
think
do it again. Then it's just too much.
I
They can do it.
Hey,
part
hey,
when we were
Justin,
in the
he-
apartment and she saw like the reflection of Steve, because it's like
Yeah.
Diana sees Steve because she wants to see Steve. But
Right.
I don't actually really think he's ever Steve. It's just Diana wanted him to be Steve.
Yeah, no, I think
But
it's the guy.
I don't think
yeah,
she wished for some
so,
strange
I mean-
guy to look like Steve
It's
Trevor.
like,
He said,
it's
I wish that Steve Trevor
Yeah.
was back.
It's like Dead Man, right?
Yeah.
The character.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of cool. See, that's why I really liked it. I thought it was better that way than actually bringing back his physical body. That was
Hmm.
Because at some point he's got to go. He can't stay in this guy's body and take this guy's life over.
that's right.
You know?
He was never going to be able to stay there forever.
Well, that's why. But
Yeah.
that's why I was like, it would be better if he just appeared. Like, oh shoot, this is weird. And then,
Plus,
but you know, it's
but I
kind of
agree. I
nitpicky.
think, yeah, I think it should, like, if you're gonna make a wish, like, why can't he come back in like his normal body where you're not like taking over someone else's body? Like,
Because he'd be bones. He'd be
Yeah.
all
no, I know, but if
bones.
it's a wish, then he
A
can
wish.
just come back
It's
as
a
a
wish.
deceased.
the body is brand
I mean,
new.
some
Like,
dude,
really
some dude
Steve,
wish,
he could
some
stay.
girl wished that she was popular, right? And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
she's instantaneously popular, and people are like banging on the
Dang
window,
it.
like there she is,
I
right?
get the
Or famous, yeah.
I get the whole how like the medium in which he came back. But so like I totally get what Cindy's saying, and it can seem that way. But for me, it kind of goes back to just for me personally, kind of what I talked about earlier, where it's like the whole movie's about wanting everything and never being satisfied at all. And she shows you, I mean, it's subtle, but all the photos, like she's lived for hundreds of years. She's lived in this world for 60 plus, and she can do anything. And that's what Barbara kind of tells her. Like she has everything. And yet the only thing, and she says it to Steve, I've done all this. I can do all this. I gave all myself. And the only thing that would make it perfect is the only thing I want. So I get it. Totally get it. He is a male. He is what she loved. But I think it was more about how she has everything but Steve Trevor. The only loss she's ever experienced is Steve Trevor. The only time she's ever not been perfect is when Steve died. And so, now I get him back. And I have everything I ever wanted now. And yet that's the biggest fall. That the same way all Kristen Wiig wanted was to be popular, and all Maxwell Lord wanted to be was the best guy, the most powerful man in the world. Hers can appear to come off in many different ways, but I truly think what Patty intended was, it's just the one thing she can't have, a god, a demigod, but the one thing she can't have is this person.
It kind of brings me back to like Superman 78, when like he has all this power and all he can't save his father from a heart attack.
Yeah,
he could do everything but that. Like she can do anything.
But could he save his dad from a tornado?
Justin doesn't like Superman.
Stop it! Stop it!
Or like Superman do when he wants Lois Lane and he has to give up the one thing that makes him whole.
Yes.
I mean, that's.
But Justin doesn't like that either.
No, he's only allowed to put buses out of a pond. He can't jump into a tornado.
I'm not digging up that rabbit hole. I'm staying out of that one.
I mean, I also didn't.
I want to keep talking about.
No, go, Matt.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think just to go off of what you were saying, Cindy, it comes down to like screen time sharing. For me, is why I would have preferred less of Steve Trevor in this. I would have loved to see the relationship between Barbara and Diane develop more, because I literally like laughed out loud when she met Steve.
Yep.
When she met Steve and she was like, "Oh, I'm her new friend." I'm like, "You had dinner once and she pushed a guy across the street for you." That would be like the aerobics lady in the opening sequence being like, "That's my friend Wonder Woman," because she kicked that car out of the way. Like it seemed this equated kind of thing where I'm like, and she was so good in the role. I'm like, I wanted more, so that when that turn happens and when they confront each other at the White House, like, well, yeah, like that's gonna hit way harder for me at that point. Other than, yeah, this is like Catwoman, take your pick of which one. Like kind of story recycled in that moment when there were so many great moments and glimpses into like what Kristen Wiig made it. That I think could have been.
It's got like a little bit of like.
So I would have traded.
It felt very rushed. It was just like, "Hey, we're best friends now," and I'm like, "Is that how women work?"
Yeah.
And it was just like, for her to act like she knows who Diana, like what Diana has been. She's like, "You've had everything." It's like, well, how do you know? You've had like one conversation with her at dinner, and it's like, I'm pretty sure you didn't pour into the very nooks and crannies of Diana's life. If you're just basing it off of how she looks, like
exactly what she's doing.
That's super like
official. Yeah,
that's not how it's superficial, and it's annoying. It's just like is that how? Like,
but that's what being jealous of Patty Batman. You got action figures and deep dish pizza. You've got everything, dude.
I feel like I would have put that stone back. I think
the whole point of this film, like,
I know it's annoying to me that a female director portrayed it that way. Like,
yes,
that's what bugs me. Is it's like she's a female.
Have you met other females? Because that's how they act. I'm just saying, like, girls cut each other down. The moment a girl walks in a room, they cut the other one down, and they're like, "Hey, I want to be like her," and they obsess about it the whole time.
I'm not saying that's not true, but they made it seem like they were like
bring it.
After one meal, and it's just like that's not how it is. Like that's not what it is.
Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman's the friend of everyone, and that's why she had to let go of Steve to really serve her purpose as like the defender of the world at that point. Like
it's
she,
I'm allowed to have my.
It's annoying that Wonder Woman wants to be someone's friend.
Justin,
no, it's annoying that it was.
I'm not mansplaining. I'm being like a rational person though, and like there's nothing wrong with her saying, "Hey, I want to be like you. Oh my gosh, my life's.
I'm not saying there isn't anything wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the relationship aspect was rushed and it made it seem very not.
But that's like every movie. Like the person falls in love. Like
I agree.
The first Wonder Woman movie.
I agree
Steve
with
Trevor.
you.
She was with him for like 4 days. Right, but it's the love of her life, right? Because it's the first person she met. Like, oh, I fell in love, and yeah, I don't know.
They
The
sailed
difference with that,
across
the difference with that though,
ocean together.
not-
You
yeah,
think they
she's
didn't
not
have more
only-
than one conversation?
exactly. It's not only
They
that.
caught a ride on a tugboat. Come on.
It did.
But it
Take
wasn't.
that
The
long.
love wasn't like immediate. They went through like a whole war before they fell in
Exactly. That's
love.
what I was
Like,
trying to get at. They went through a lot together in that short period of time.
and honestly, I don't think that's that great either. Like, I love the love
And
story, but it's not like realistic. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like to make the villain hit more is it could have been built so much better. Like
Cindy,
it
I'm
could
with
have
that.
been
I'm
more
with you
focused on.
100%. I'm with you 100%.
Like it doesn't feel like either villain is at 100%. They for sure feel like C pluses. Like it's just you can't do everything like 100% if you have two people. Like I feel that way in a lot of movies where there's more than one villain. Like that's how I felt with Aquaman. It's like, okay, so what's the point of this other dude? Just to like add some story to it? Like
To set up the next movie.
Yeah, but he's
Well,
got the
yeah.
coolest costume.
but it's just like,
Black Manta, come
You
on.
know, I love that dome head.
Yeah, do
I mean,
Aquaman
come on,
movie
man.
without Black Manta.
He doesn't even need a point to be in the movie.
I mean,
I don't know. I like the lunch they had. They had a connection. Like she's new. She's lonely. Wonder Woman's like, hey, well, she even felt bad. She kind of felt bad. She's like, man, okay, I'll have some lunch with you. And they connected. Like sometimes there's fast friendships. Like the first time I met Eric, about 3 years ago, I'll make it real. I'll make it flipping real. Met Eric. We hung out. We connected. We watched My Super Ex-Girlfriend on a couch at Rick Stew's house. And then from
That's-
that moment,
that's
we've talked ever
weird.
since, right? I'm just saying, why can't she
I
have a
think Rick
connection?
Stew's selling that couch, isn't he?
I
but
think
for
the
it to like
problem.
fuel a point of like, I don't know. It just doesn't
Listen,
seem
To
No.
the degree to
Hold
which you expect something to happen out of that relationship, you have to invest in it on screen. I think that's what
Yeah.
it is. Like it can be a quick
or
friendship,
even if
but
they
if you're
just
asking us to believe this turn and this struggle
Yeah.
and this epic battle, like, well, okay, like the investment has to be in there too.
Okay, a few
If
things.
it's just,
few
hey, we're
things.
buddies,
All right.
it's like I'm at a candy, and it's like, sweet, do you think she's cool?
No, a few things. First of all, this is a person who doesn't have friends, period, right? So when you get that one person who you think is an ideal, and that's what she looks at to Diana as, you're automatically going to have a certain affinity. Obviously, this woman is not playing with a full deck because she decides to become what she becomes.
Yeah.
So she obviously has a disconnect there. And I think, we do see Diana do things for her, like Justin said, she saves him from the rapey guy, and then
Yeah.
you do have these moments where she shows this power, and I think Barbara's kind of like, wow, she really is a special woman. I don't know too much about her, but it would be cool to be like that. She's beautiful. She obviously has some kind of crazy power. And so I think that was what we saw. I agree with you. I would have liked to see more of her, period, and more of their interactions, maybe a little bit. But even the first time, like after it happens, when they go back to the lab and they're trying to find the stone again, and her first interaction with her, even after Diana leaves, she's like, "Oh, call me," whatever. Like even now, when she's starting to, you still see she has this obsession now with Diana that's still there. But I agree with you for the most part. The development of Cheetah, even though I love it and I think she's great, it could have been done a little better. Better.
I think once Wonder Woman started to investigate the missing of the statue, it started to like, wait, hold on, I thought we were cool. Like all of a sudden, the person she aspired to be was now becoming the person who was going to take everything away from her that she was starting to love about herself. Like she started getting attention also. So then also she feels threatened, and now, dang, that person I like, you're actually the opposite. I now that I am you, you're trying to take that away from me, and now we're enemies. So I think it works in the 2-hour frame of the movie. Like if it was a TV show, it'd be different. We'd have a whole season of them, wearing leather jackets like the CW, not really wearing their suits, and then finally, like the last episode of the season, they would be like, "Oh, you," and then credits. But
What I want to know is how do they go back to work on Monday? Like they're coworkers now. It's Wonder Woman.
Oh, one of them ain't going
Maybe
back.
she quit.
Yeah, at least
I
one.
don't think Barbara's going back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Barbara got fired for letting that stone get out of hand. There's some kind of record of that or something, right?
Almost destroyed the world. I mean,
That's the other thing.
yeah, right.
Just one more thing. I'm talking too much, but one more thing.
No, you're fine.
Is he Max renounced his wish, but he's still the stone, right? Or was that his
That was his
complete
wish.
That was
renouncement?
renouncing it.
I think he renounced that he's the stone.
yeah,
So that means
So where did the stone go?
That's the thing. I don't know what happens with
Did
the
the
stone.
stone go back
It's
to
like
the
Jumanji, dude. It's just somewhere else on a beach.
It's
It's
just
in the
somewhere
ether.
else.
It's in the ether.
It's in
Waiting
the
to be
ether,
found by
yeah.
Barbara.
It's in
It's
Jane
everywhere.
Foster.
It's in all of us.
Not to go
Yeah.
back to the original point, because I agree about some of the initial development between the two of them. I'm joking because like I thought Patty wouldn't do this. Can Hollywood stop? And this is like such a ridiculous gripe, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Can Hollywood stop this whole glasses and frizzy hair communicates the person who's been down? They did it Iron Man 3. They did Amazing Spider-Man 2, Wonder Woman 1984. I mean, every movie I'm like, can it just be
Forever.
Kristen Wiig? Like her dialogue, like you both said, is what sells the fact that
yeah.
like she wants something more. Like, don't just put her in glasses and be like, oh, look at her.
That's like you and your dad, though. Look at your dad's nice haircut, and look at your
Well, I'm a great
glasses and your
looking
pretty
guy.
hair. You're the nerd, and he's the cool guy.
But that's what the movie shows. When we sit somewhere, he's Diana Prince and I'm Barbara Minerva.
Yeah. Well, that's why I thought.
So here's
But
my thing real quick because I want you guys all to come in.
It is the
I
80s.
I think she was miscast as Cheetah.
Oh, they're gonna kill you.
I know
said,
you're
"Don't
gonna
say
kill
this."
me.
I said, don't say this.
I know I was yelling at you while listening.
I
to you.
know.
To hear that more.
I
She's
kept seeing
the best.
Rosario Dawson as Cheetah because you didn't have to nerd her up as much. And I have a hard time, even with the transformation, I have a hard time believing like Kristen Wiig can get powerful. I know we got to believe it, and I'm going against what I say, and I love her. I think she's great. Bridesmaids, I was Saturday Night Live, but I just see like somebody different in that role. I know it's bad, but
I told you
that
to
was
say
Rosario Dawson is too busy being Ahsoka now. She didn't have the
she did
time.
one episode.
So-
Episode she did.
Oh, she's planning it. Leave her alone.
When they were filming this, she
Cheetah.
was probably the night nurse on all the Marvel.
When they
shows.
Yeah,
close-
that's true. That's
When they close up on her and she's Cheetah, and you still see Kirsten, it just doesn't.
Did you write into Warner Brothers when Keaton was cast? Did you write one of those angry letters?
I didn't like that at all. No, and I certainly didn't like Heath Ledger as the Joker either. But they won me over. This was the opposite. I was kind of like,
didn't do
wow.
it?
And don't get me wrong, she delivers and she's engaging and very easy to look at. And the other thing too is like maybe her age too going forward because she is much older than Gal.
She's 47.
Yeah, and Gal's only like 32 or 33, somewhere around there. Like when they make the next movie, I don't know. For me, that didn't work, but it didn't ruin the movie. I could have pictured in my mind other actresses playing that role.
I
younger,
liked it,
though.
but what
I
it was
liked
to me
her.
is that how different it felt for her.
Mhm.
And I think that's what was jarring for me after my first watch was because all I really knew was from Bridesmaids and SNL, right?
SNL,
Seeing her
right.
in this type of
Horrible
role was
ghost
just kind of a thing for my head just to try and wrap myself around it because she's, nowhere near an action star and her body type isn't an action. But that's I think why it worked for me. Her character is that she's not supposed to be this cheetah, this fierce person. And you can believe that Gal Gadot is this, amazing Wonder Woman, but maybe you don't believe that Kristen Wiig could be this type of character, cheetah character. So I just think it's just a mind thing where Kristen Wiig is not an action star.
And let me salvage a bit too. It could just be in the writing, and like we said, like initially too, I didn't buy right away when she's so angry. All of a sudden, I'm like, we're jumping, kind of like Cindy said. I agree, and this rivalry, I'm like, okay, so it could just be in the writing too that just didn't land for you.
And let's be fair. When Gal was cast as Wonder Woman, nobody liked that either.
Her arms are too skinny.
Yep, she's too skinny. She's
I
not
was
a good
always in
actress.
trouble.
Yeah,
Well, hold on.
She looked great.
Yeah,
Like her
well,
from
that's-
Entourage, right?
Man.
Shh. She's in like an episode.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I knew her from just Fast and Furious 5 and 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Whatever one she
All
was. That's what it was.
Let's transition to Maxwell Lord. He's the one character that I didn't love. I thought he
with
was
you.
too, and I like Pedro Pascal. I thought he was too zany. I don't. He couldn't turn off the ham, and I was like, "Bro, it ain't Christmas." Well, it is Christmas. It's Christmas Day. We don't need a ham, right? He was just so hammy. Like even at the end, I was like, when Wonder Woman is trying to like get him to like think about what he's doing, he was like, "But do you need power?" Like he just felt like a crazy like televangelist. And I was like, "Bro,
That's what he was, though.
Well,
I think
that-
that was the
that- okay,
I got
that's-
that kind of Trump
but-
too.
Even when
But
he's
that's-
standing underneath the brother eye, he's broadcasting to the world, trying
But-
to get their wishes,
But
aka their
at
money.
some
all that.
point, she's trying to rationalize with him, and I was like, that's not him when he's behind closed doors. I was hoping for him to get vulnerable before he saw his kid, because it started to feel like Brain Drain Riddler from Batman Forever, and that's where I was. I was like, he felt one note at that point, and so that kind of. That was hard for me, and I'm trying to take my comic book knowledge out because, like I told Pete yesterday, I actually would have thought Maxwell Lord's actual power of persuasion would have been a way, better, I don't know, plot in the film if he was because they started to do it like with the nosebleed. That was a comic thing. Like anytime he did it, his nose would
His ear
bleed.
would bleed, his eyes
Yeah.
started getting red, stuff like that.
Yeah, and so I thought, oh man, that would have been so much cooler if he was he would persuade people to do things, and they'd think it was their. I don't know, that would be a whole other thing. But again, that's me writing a story. Have to deal with what's in front of me, and I think he just was too much of a handball for me. And that's my biggest what didn't work in this film.
I'll say he was
Maxwell Lord.
I liked him, but I'm with you at the very end when he's when he's in the thing.
Yeah, I don't even know what that
I
was.
forget what to call it. That's when I was telling him, I'm like, Pedro, you're nailing this whole movie. Turn it down a little bit. When he's like, I have, yeah, I'm like, okay, settle down.
The one time this guy needs to wear a helmet, he's not
Why
wearing a
didn't
helmet.
Patty
man.
go out there and say, "You're here, let's come here"? Because then he nails it with his son at the very end. I'm like, okay, you
Yeah,
can't
no,
talk.
I didn't buy that
Yeah.
either. But go ahead, continue.
But like when he's feeling there at the end, I'm like, dude, he's going nuts in this thing. Settle down, Pedro.
Yeah.
Settle down a little bit. But I thought he was good. I mean, I like him too, so I'm very biased.
Eric, I want to hear how grumpy you are.
Listen to Scale Gotham. Yeah.
Get off my stream.
Yeah, right. No, I agree with Justin for the most part. He was very over the top. And when I first saw it, I'm like, this was terrible. I couldn't stand it. I'm like, this was really bad. Easily my worst part of the movie. And then I watched it the second time and I'm like, all right, it works a little bit better when I had time to process things and put it through. But that end scene with his son, it's supposed to grab you and nothing. I felt nothing. I was like, what am I watching? This is completely forced. The kid is great. Kid is excellent. He's great.
No, Shaggy would have been better.
But
Shaggy.
Chris,
I just
Chris
didn't know
hates
I
the
didn't know
kid.
where the kid came
I
from.
do
He
hate
ran
the
from the
kid.
forest all of a sudden. He ran to his dad.
Alistair's the real villain of the movie.
Chris's
I hated
Chris's
Alistair.
take on the kid is the
Oh.
funniest thing.
but no, I didn't. He
Who's
still,
worse, this kid or the kid from Batman from Dark Knight at the
Oh,
end?
this kid.
Gordon's
Oh,
kid.
I'm
By-
with
by-
Alex.
No,
My favorite thing.
Alistair served real no purpose other than Max trying to just play everybody. And
right.
Max just didn't care about anything until Alistair was, facing death, and it's just
I
I don't know.
the whole movie. I just didn't buy that. Like I
I'm
didn't.
with you on that.
He's supposed to kind of be his balance, his center, and
They
at the
treated him
end,
like crap most of the movie.
Right,
Like he was
treated
an
him like crap most of-
inconvenience.
Exactly.
It's like, do
And
you
then
really
it's-
love your kid? Because I don't know how that would turn you around if you were just
Yeah.
like, he's the worst.
and then at the end, I'm supposed to believe now that you. I'm sorry, it did not work for me at all. And
Well, Wonder
He
Woman
was-
changed his heart. Remember? With
I
the-
thought she
with
was
the
going to
lasso.
snap his neck, man. I thought that was coming. Like
Yeah.
when he-
Waiting for that.
when he's in the studio and he's going like full brother eye and everything
Yeah.
and all that stuff, like I was like, it's coming, here it comes. And I was like, okay, so this is when the world gets
Yeah.
exposed to Wonder Woman. Like
I-
they see this broadcast and it just, I guess they're still feeling the effects of Man of Steel and they just
Yeah.
wouldn't do it.
I wish they did show her on the camera though. I wish that she did end up like who is this? That would have been cool.
I thought it was coming, it just never did.
Yeah.
Like an I Am Iron Man moment or something like that.
right, yeah.
Yeah. That and like I thought they had a really good opportunity to call her Wonder Woman. When they're like, who is this lady? People said there was like dozens of people had this report, that news report, and they go, who is this Wonder Woman? I don't know. I think
I'm
say
all
the
about her
name.
being nameless right now because it drives fanboys crazy.
Yeah,
I'm
what
like,
you
You
guys-
mean,
yeah,
you mean
sure,
Rick
why not?
Stew, right?
Why
I
do
didn't even
people
notice
go
that.
crazy because they don't say their names? I
I
think
could
it's
care less.
awesome. I think that's one of the cool things is that they don't have the name yet.
Right.
I don't know, but I guess
But,
it
but
bothers-
she's got
it
like a
bothers
W
the-
unless it stands for peace or something in Themyscira. Like, I just they need to have names at some point. Like, you got the CW Flash name in the Flash. Like,
I'm just
It'd
waiting
be
for
nice.
Alexander
CW.
Knox, baby. Gonna come.
What are you
Alexander
waiting for,
Knox.
what? What do you say?
I'm waiting for Alexander Knox to name her. It's gonna happen in Flashpoint
what do we call you? What do we call
Yeah.
you?
after taxes.
I think what worked for me with Pedro and why he was one of my favorite characters is that he's a couple different things in the movie. He's one character when he's on the camera. He's one character when he's in his office talking to, clients, and he's
Simon Stagg.
Simon Stagg, yeah.
That was
That was
cool.
great.
That was a
and
good
he's one character when he's talking to his son before he renounces his wish, and then he's another person at the end of the movie as well. And I agree that he was way over the top, and that was the point they were going for. But I just like Pedro's portrayal of all of different Maxwell Lords, and I'm on the opposite side with Eric, where I really liked the last scene. I didn't think it was forced. I thought the interactions between his son at the end were kind of weird, because the last time we saw his son, he was on like an overpass, and then all of a sudden he's in like the gardens of the White House for some reason. That kind of there's lots of that stuff in the movie though that doesn't make any sense.
Maybe he wished to be like a time hopper or something. Like that. He could go.
He did wish for his greatness.
My wish was for a more Reagan-looking president. That guy didn't look like Reagan.
Oh God, that was horrible. What
Was
it?
was he Reagan, or was he?
He had to be Reagan. Reagan was the
They
president.
didn't mention
Robert
his name. They didn't mention his
They
name.
didn't name him. That's what I was thinking. Like, he's a cross between like Reagan and like the guy from Best in Show, like Fred Willard.
Eugene Levy.
No, Fred Willard. Fred Willard.
Oh, Fred
Oh.
Willard. Yeah,
Like,
that was.
the whole thing with
Reagan.
Colin Farrell looked so unrecognizable. They could have just stuck a bunch of fake cheeks and a nose on Reagan and made him look like Reagan.
But they also go for like it's not the president, somebody just neutral, because like in BVS and Man of Steel, they have the president on the phone. It would have been Obama, but it's clearly some voice of somebody else. So like
Patrick Wilson.
so I get,
Master.
I get,
I feel
it is
like if
Patrick
you're-
Wilson. You're right.
Yeah, Ocean Master's the president.
But
I feel like
like,
it doesn't
so-
have. It didn't have to be like the actual president.
Yeah,
that
I was
was.
gonna say,
It's
yeah.
like a whole nother
Comic
world. Like,
It could have been a good
It'd been
actor.
funny though. He's all.
That would have been good. A good actor would have been nice.
Well,
yeah,
I agree with
he
that.
was a little. It was
What
just
if
like
it was like 90s? It would be cool. It could be Bill Clinton. He'd be like,
Well,
"Hey,
Reagan was old.
hi there, Wonder Woman, come on in here."
Playing saxophone.
This Maxwell
Not going there.
Oh,
I heard you got this stone that can make wishes happen. Can
Yeah.
you help me
I
out?
really might be in the minority, but I actually really like that they did that. Like they showed like the president, and they showed like how like Maxwell Lord like really developed. Because I mean, for me, the whole concept was greed, right? Like the 80s was the decade of greed, and it shows like what power can do to somebody. And when you want more of it, like you either can become the worst version of yourself or the best version of yourself. But either way, when you have power, you're never satisfied. You always want more of it. So it's like I love that they incorporated like, well, what happens when you give the president more power than he already has? I mean, some people say he doesn't have enough power. So what happens when you give him all the power? It's like, I mean, and it's like what
That was
Maxwell
really-
Lord, it's like
that was
I would
really well
argue
done.
that he wasn't really a villain to me. He was more of just like a lost soul. So I would argue that like it was just like he had too much power. He lost who he was, and then Wonder Woman, like the character that she is, got him to see the humanity, the hope, the optimism, the love for his son, and his son, the little part that he had in the movie, just brought his father back. And I found that to be a heartwarming part of the movie.
How
But
can we get you on Rotten Tomatoes? Like what? Like, can we replace some of these nitwits and get Zednick on Rotten Tomatoes, please?
Hey, by the way, I saw a lot of people were upset. Were you guys upset that they didn't do more with the Cold War in the 80s? I saw some
I thought it
takes.
was fine.
I didn't mind.
Someone who's from the outside, like I'm born in '86.
Yeah,
Like the late '80s.
So
I lived through the whole '80s, and I never once gave a damn about the Cold War. There
That's like-
wasn't much-
You were never
there might have been some
Cold
stuff
War.
going on, but there really wasn't anything.
I said on my show, it's just like two countries talking crap to each other.
That's how they
right?
were. And actually, Gorbachev and Reagan got to be friendly during the '80s. So,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
anything, there was like I see all these guys on there. They're like, "Oh, they should have did more." Like what? There really wasn't much.
I
That's all
gotta
they can remember. The Cold
I got to
War.
read something. An actual just one. A major problem in the sequel is that Wonder Woman is not doing a lot of heroic things.
What?
Does she not save the whole world at the end of the movie?
Yeah.
Who said
Like, did I? His name is David Kaplan from Kaplan versus Kaplan, not the radio guy from here. And this is a certified critic. A certified critic says a major problem in the sequel is that Wonder Woman does not do enough heroic things. That was written, submitted, and
And that's-
presented.
Did that guy like
And
get
that
up
was
and like
all-
get
that's
a
all he
drink in the
wrote.
middle of the movie or what?
And it's
Save the
so-
kid in Cairo, the
That's right.
mall.
Is he a hashtag
But
associate
does she
producer?
not convince humanity to be better? And I don't know. Man.
She does.
I
Good
hate
point,
critics.
man.
I hate critics so much.
Oh,
I'm
man.
so tired. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I'm just so
Are you
tired.
Bro,
tired?
love what you love. Jeez.
I have nothing else to say. I'm so
He's tired.
tired of it.
Yeah.
Every time a DC movie comes out, with the exception of the first one and Shazam, which was as formulaic as the other ones, which is great.
I love Shazam, bro.
But
Yeah.
it works. It's
Better
great.
than this.
But is it a coincidence that style is the best reviewed film from this universe?
Dude,
No.
Sandberg directed the hell out of that movie. That movie's just as emotional as this one.
I see his point
But-
though. Yeah, but
the
yes,
humor and stuff, it's very. I mean, it's very. Like it's very. I
By
don't want
the
to use the word
numbers.
kitty, but it is very,
people wanted the cheese. They want the MCU, and then look what happens.
That's what Shazam is, dude.
We get the
Big Red
biggest
Teeth.
deviation of it. And
I know that's what he is, but that's
Well,
why that movie worked.
well,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
God forbid people can't get over one line in one scene that Batman says in a movie. God forbid. We got to talk about it for 10 years. But the second one,
What
I don't
Batman?
know.
That one that definitely bleeds, or Chris's favorite line. Is that what you're
I
talking
do
about?
like that line.
Yeah, I know you do.
Chris likes that line. I love that. Yeah. I love
Let's
the
try to
theater.
cut it off. Continue.
I was just saying like that is the only one, and Wonder Woman 1, and that is Shazam's character. Yeah, that's why I'm not surprised that worked for so many people. The way they made that movie. And
You mean
James Cameron
critic,
did a hell of
and
a
you're
job.
talking about critics.
Yeah, and he did a hell of a job. I like Shazam a lot. I saw it with Zen. We saw it like 3 weeks early. It was great.
Mhm.
But how that movie is, and the humor and the character is awesome. But that is what pleases now. That sort of thing pleases. It's that pattern is there. The pattern is no longer. You can't argue there's a pattern anymore. There's an expectation. There's a pattern. It is there. I sound like a Snyder conspiracy theory, but I'm
I mean,
not.
that movie's pretty dark at some places. Like in the office scene, like that's a straight up horror scene. Like it's not as popcorny as like an MCU movie.
But that's once. I mean, like in Infinity War, you watch all of Asgard get murdered on a thing, and then like you know what I mean. There's still enough of it there, you know. Whereas like in this movie, it's not there. Even in Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman's not there, and Wonder Woman 1 works, and I'm so glad that
He was
first film.
Matt just left. He was like, I'm not dealing with this.
We're done.
He was done.
So tired of talking to you guys.
He was done.
It's just a bummer because like even like Star Blossom is like it's like rumored that Star Blossom makes a cameo in this movie, and it's like, well, Wonder Woman saved her. Like that's the beginning of their friendship, you know. Like
Right.
I like that a lot too.
it's kind of
I-
crazy. Like I caught that after the fact, and I'm like, holy shit! Like Jeff Johns, this is why I love you, dude.
Wait, what? What?
The little
I
girl
love the start.
in the mall.
The little girl in the mall who she shot into a teddy bear.
Oh.
Everyone's saying she's Star Blossom. So
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
like wow. Like again, Jeff Johns doing his homework.
I
Jeff Johns.
I understand what you're saying, Nico. Going back to the criticisms, like I don't tend to be a DC's intentionally like slammed in the films. I just feel
They're
like,
not.
yeah, I don't know if that's.
No, but there's a.
I feel like it can feel like that.
I mean, it does when movies like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 get praised, and you're like, well, this movie's way better. I'm
yeah,
sorry,
but I would push back on that and say Guardians of the Galaxy had a through line. The tone was consistent. Or I think a critic is saying, man, maybe like I'm thinking about it objectively. I liked Wonder Woman 84. We'll get to ratings very soon. But I would say if I'm going to be objective, I feel like the tone was off in parts, and Maxwell Lord overacted for me. I think he was in a different movie at times. And yeah, huh?
Yeah, I'm saying like use Guardians is like a prime example because I think it's just a bad movie, and I like James Gunn.
But I would say Guardians. If I had to throw Guardians 2 down next to Wonder Woman, which I don't want to do because they're two different films doing two different things, but I would say Guardians
genre movies to genre movies.
Volume 2 is a way more consistent movie in what it's doing.
Here's the thing, guys. We could break down every Thor, the Dark World. We could break down all these movies that, for that being a bad movie, it has a far better rating than Wonder Woman 84. Okay, there's just some things that, and I'm not saying there's a conspiracy theory. I'm not saying that.
Not either.
But I do believe there's a pocket of a small group of reviewers that do go out of their way to bomb the DC movies. And it's like Twitter. You know, we think Twitter's big and whatnot. It is, but it's very small in the mainstream.
Yeah.
So I think there's a small group that make a lot of noise, right? And it just seems to me like that DC bears the brunt of that. I don't know how that started, if it started with BVS or Man of Steel or whatever, because, you know, coming out of The Dark Knight with Nolan, I mean, those are, that trilogy is considered one of the greatest trilogies.
I think it started with Man of Steel.
I think you're right. It started with Zack Snyder. And now we got this whole crazy thing going on, and the community is so divisive, and, you know, it hurts me as a DC fan because I'm not saying these movies are perfect, but most of the DC movies, even the ones that are bad, are still on par or better than some of the worst MCU movies. But they sure don't get reviewed like it, and they sure critically, and there's just something going on that's strange.
I always think of Mickey Mouse and like South Park. You know, that's kind of what pops in my head when this stuff gets talked about. You know, like that version of Mickey. So
you know what I think could be part of it is it's like MCU movies, you watch them the first time and you're just like wowed by them. Whereas like DC's movie, not that I'm saying that DC's aren't great movie. They don't have great movies. What I'm saying is it's like the initial watch is always just like, wow. Whereas if you were to watch them additional times, not every single movie has the rewatchability. Whereas like
you are
DC
correct.
movies are more of like a slow burn.
Yeah.
And so your first initial watch is not always the best watch to judge a movie off of, which is why I watched it a second time. Because the first time I watched it, I was just like, this is terrible. Like, I'm so mad at this movie because it's like, I loved Wonder Woman. The first Wonder Woman, I watched it the first time and I walked out of that theater wowed. And that doesn't happen for me with DC movies.
And then I watched it times to pick up on the bad stuff. I just can't do it.
And then I watched it a second time, even in the theater. Wonder Woman, a second time, the first one, a second time in the theaters. And even though I knew everything that was going to happen, I still had the same emotional connection. This one, I watched it and I was just like, yeah, no, I don't think I will watch it again. And then I did, and I was like, okay, I can see what she was trying to do. Like, I still don't feel like it had the power of the original film, but I can see how people are just like, if they're going off of their first watch, then they're probably super judgmental of it. And that happens with DC films. Like, there are plenty of DC movies that I've seen and I'm like, yeah, it was fine. Like, it didn't wow me in any way. Whereas like Marvel movies, I've walked out of every single Marvel movie that I've seen in the theater and been like, wow. But
it's
on a
good
second
point for
watch
you. But there's a lot of Marvel movies that I walked out of that I couldn't wait. Yeah,
There's a huge difference in how they're delivered.
Yeah.
I think that's something with this.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
it doesn't feel the same on additional watches. Like, I rewatched all of the Marvel movies and I was like, yeah, I mean, like I loved Captain Marvel the first time I watched it again and I was like, meh. Like, it didn't have the same feelings. And I was just like, I think the theater, like for Marvel movies, is what gives them their power.
Whereas the crowd energy.
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah. It's the crowd. Yeah. And it's
and because you laugh and there's a lot of visuals.
I just think the brand of DC, these critics go into these movies that are not like us, these mainstream critics. And I think they go in there with a preconceived notion that it's just not going to be as good. That's just how I feel. I don't know because
It could be
because
that too.
when you see the reviews for Wonder Woman 84, it's like I am I that disconnected with the mainstream?
That's how I felt.
They say it's garbage. It's
But
the worst movie
script of all time.
Nobody can act.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm sitting there and I'm like,
There's no way.
I
Yeah,
think I
there's
know
no
a little
way.
bit. Like I like to think I'm in tune with some stuff, and it just doesn't make sense. Like it's befuddling to me, and it's frustrating. But like he said, you almost got to put yourself out of it. And I guess when Matt Reeves' Batman comes out, that'll probably be the first thing that no one will be able to deny, and that everybody will jump on board with. Because
For me,
go ahead, Pete. I'm sorry.
For me, it was like the one time I hopped on Twitter and it was like a positive experience. I was like, Nico liked it and Emmett was cool with it, and like I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not an idiot. Like it's not like, oh, this fool likes BVS. He doesn't know good movies. You know, it was kind of weird because I'm like, do I like bad movies? Do I have no taste? I like this movie. I thought this movie was enjoyable and has rewatchability. Like, am I just
you have no
a moron?
taste.
Like it was
Terrible
really,
taste.
it was weird. I was just like, I like most of the DC movies.
We just want to
Suicide
belong.
Squad included. So it's like,
I think people have character expectations, and it happens with every film. Like people expect Superman to be a certain way, right? People expect you get away with Batman being dark because hey, he's kind of a dark character, like he has a dark background. People have expectations of what we got Wonder Woman. She in the first one, and she was all that everyone wanted. Like, oh, well, you know, you're developing the character, and in this one, she's still there, but I think people wanted to see more of the fantastic character that she is, and you don't get that completely here. So I think that's a lot to do with it because we might know more about these characters and different things that they've done, but the mainstream doesn't have that same connection to the characters. Yeah. So I think,
and it's not a brand they trust yet. There hasn't been brand.
That's what it is, Justin.
Trust.
Right. Absolutely. Right.
Like that's what it is right now. You can walk into any Marvel movie, whether it's good or not. Like we'll find out with Eternals because that's the one my eyebrow is like. Rrr. But you can walk into it. It's kind of like going in to see a Pixar movie. Most of them are okay. Minus the dinosaur one, whatever that one was about, right?
Oh, like the dinosaur.
Yeah, but you can walk into a Marvel movie and you kind of know what you're getting, right? And now it's a machine, right? DC hasn't have a machine yet. They don't. I think they don't know their rhythm.
Good.
I hope they never have a machine. I love the diversity.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
But, yeah.
They don't have. They don't have the. When you see DC film, you might go, "Oh man."
Right, and we know what happened in the background. Yeah. Everything reported what's happened before, so it's just a really bad. It's been a bad, feeling around the studio.
But don't worry about reviews so much, and go into like every one of these movies, even BVS has been successful.
BVS makes you think too much. Man.
Well, yeah, but they've all made money for the studio. That's just why they're continuing to make DC films. Sorry, Chris, go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think a lot of the harsh criticism on this movie comes from the anticipation going into it. This movie has been in the can
for a while,
years, 2 years now, I think.
Yep.
And the marketing has been going on for so long. I think people built their expectations.
Not with Cheetos.
High. Oh yeah, not with Cheetos. Doritos though, a lot of Doritos got sold.
Yes,
but they built their expectations up so high. This movie was never going to meet those expectations.
Right. Yeah.
No matter what it was, it could have been the comic book god's gift to cinema, and people still would have nitpicked this or that or Jeff Johns or whatever. It doesn't matter.
And the first one is so good, and this is a 180 from that first one.
Well, they couldn't make a better movie. They couldn't because the movie was so good. They couldn't even try to make a movie that was better.
And it's different. You go from literally the trenches in France to
dang, hot take right here from Daryl. Wonder Woman 84 is equal to Cyberpunk 27.
I think what he means is more like based off of expectations. So Cyberpunk had like huge expectations, and it was just like it fell flat.
And you got your refund.
Hey, but hey, people could watch Wonder Woman 84 on their Xbox, so there you go. Oh
no, like I would say like I think if they had released this on HBO Max back in June, which was kind of before a ton of the drama had come out, it might have hit a little different. Like if they were just like, hey, we know it may not be able to come out this year, like instead of just like waiting for things, just be like, we're just going to do it now. Like maybe it's they didn't have the ability to do it at that time. Like I don't know, but it was just like a lot of the drama that happened in over the summer with Jeff Johns and all of that kind of stuff. I feel like it put things already in a negative.
But the main, I don't think the general audience knows anything about Jeff Johns. They don't know nothing about any of that.
clue.
Yeah, but do you think the majority of the
Justice League?
Right.
do you think the majority of the people that saw this movie was the general audience?
Yeah.
Because it was on HBO Max.
Yeah, well, they said subscriptions went up, and immediately this weekend they're like Wonder Woman 3.
That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
They made money at the box office too.
But I just wonder, like, was it the nerds that are signing up, and is it the nerds that are seeing the movie and who know about the drama, like Cindy's talking about?
I think it's everybody. I just don't think they know about. I think everyone was signed up and ready because it's been publicized and it's been out there and the PR's been there. I think everyone knew about Wonder Woman 84, but like, I don't think the general audience knows anything about the drama. I don't think they know that Warner Brothers wanted to cut one of the 2 opening scenes. I don't even think they know that Warner Brothers wanted to cut the No Man's Land scene. That stuff's for us, and that stuff's for film Twitter.
What I'm saying is, like, I'm sure critics have heard about all this kind of stuff.
They do.
And so,
yeah.
So it's like specifically the people that are like well known and have an opinion about movies also have this knowledge that we have because of Twitter or whatever else they're getting their information from. And so I'm sure it puts them in a biased place. And so that's what I meant more, like just like critics specifically, not necessarily just like people watching the movie. But what I'm saying is like when critics are reviewing it, it's like if they don't like the fact that Jeff Johns was a part of it because of if they do happen to be like Ray Fisher supporters or whatever, like they're going to have an issue. They're going to have a bias towards the movie already. Like,
yeah.
And on top of that, critics are very pro studio. That's just a fact. They're very pro studio. They're in the know. They have friends. They get rewarded.
Yeah.
When Pat, and I love that she did this, but just before that second wave, Patty started talking about, back in the first one, you thought they did a lot with BVS. They were trying to overhaul my first one, and they did this third act. And I bet critics were like, I don't like that you just said. So those are things,
was unusual.
like Sydney just said. The timing, it was all of a sudden like Patty Jenkins was on the hot seat after being like with critics in film Twitter after being like the
no one
prime
messes with my girl.
So people, you're damn right, no one should mess
No
with
one messes with my girl.
But like, I could totally see how going into this, people genuinely have their minds made up because I follow a critic. I won't say his name, but then
it, dude. What? Make it interesting.
I love him. His name is Eric Weber, and I love him, and I really love him, but he really hated Wonder Woman. And then every negative other critic who rated it negatively, he would like copy and paste his tweet. He's like, I said it first, see? And all these critics are like, yo, bro, bad. I'm like, is this a frat party? Like, so now they have less weight. Now so I don't know.
I use my brother to kind of gauge the general audience. Like he's a fan of these movies. He sees every one that comes out. He's with me on this. Like he's a big Turtle fanboy, but like every once in a while he'd be like, so what's Ray Fisher's problem right now? Like he's not really that.
Ray Fisher would make a great Turtle.
I sure if you want to go there, I'm not going there. But it's just he's a fan, but even he doesn't know what the hell is really going on in all these crazy scenarios.
You can play Metalhead, the turtle, the robot turtle.
So did he like the movie, Pete? Did he see it?
Yeah, no, my brother was all about. I watched it with my mother and my brother, and they were, after we had the Christmas ravioli, that was
nice.
Everyone was all about it.
You had to digest those a little bit, though. Those looked absolutely wonderful.
Oh, they were absolutely. I mean, nothing beats the squingili on Christmas Eve. But no, and my mother, like, when Linda Carter came up, my mother was like, "Yes, that's my Wonder." She was pumped.
Yeah.
It seemed like in general the movie was a love letter to 77, and it just it seemed to hit all notes for everyone in my house.
Yeah. There was a lot of winking in this movie, I'll tell you that. Wonder Woman's winking all over the place. Wink, wink, nudge,
wink.
nudge. All right,
Gal can wink at Zeddy any day.
Hey, that's right. All right, you guys, we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna go into our ratings. We're gonna give our final kind of thoughts, ratings, and wrap a little bow on our tiara here. So I'm just going to start from my left. I don't know who's on your all's left, but I'm going to go to my man, Eric Holzman. What is this on the Let's Go rating scale? What do you give this film?
It's a Let's Go.
Oh, that's very kind. That's very kind coming from you.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said that Friday. If you had asked me Friday, I wouldn't have said that. But watching it the second time, I did enjoy it much better than the first time. So so let's go.
All right, Emmett, what you got, buddy?
You're muted.
Oh,
Sorry.
he's
It'd be better. I'm with Eric. If you asked me on Friday, I would have said it was a go. But the third act really pulls it up for me to a let's go.
All right, Cindy.
Why am I so blurry? Holy cow. There we go. My webcam finally focused. It's like a go and a half. Like, I can't give it a let's go. I can't.
Yeah.
Can you do that, Justin? Is that allowed?
Yeah. It's you can do it.
Okay.
Why not?
Do it.
You
It's
can
a
do
go
it.
and a half.
I
It's
know
a go.
It's half of an
Just a G.
exclamation.
Did you just give it a G rating?
Go G.
All right, Chris.
Yeah.
Oh wait, did you have another thought?
No, I was just gonna say, like, one of my friends, so Daryl, I was telling him about it, and I was like, honestly, if you're not that into like superhero films, if you're not obsessed with those types of things, you don't need to really watch. Like, that's literally what I told him because he asked me, and I was like,
wow.
Yeah, I don't. But it's like only if you're not like if you're into superhero films, I think it's still a goable film. Like, I think you should watch it. But if you're not that into it, then it's not that big of a deal. Like, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. All right, Chris.
I've seen it twice now. I liked it both times. I thought the second watch did slightly improve some things. I understood it a little bit better. So I give it a solid let's go.
Oh, okay. Pete.
Oh, it's a let's go for me, definitely, without a doubt.
There you go. Matt.
I'm gonna say it's a go.
Hey. I appreciate the honesty. All
Although
right.
It's a higher go.
It's
my
a
second
lonely
watch
word.
than the first.
It's a what?
It's a lonely
It was a
word.
higher-
Honesty.
Oh,
Right, Eric?
man.
What?
Honesty is a lonely word.
Yeah. Go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
Third time.
No, it's all good. I was just gonna say it definitely, like the others, I'm saying it improved the second watch when I watched it with my boys. But
Gotcha.
yeah, it's worth watching. Just not super great. Wish I would have liked it more.
All right, Zeddy.
I've seen this movie twice. It has aged well for me. I think the overall themes, if you can get behind your gripes with the movie, I think the movie came at the perfect time to close out this rather depressing year. I'm gonna give this movie a let's go, which coincides with my review. It's like an 8 out of 10. It's not a perfect movie, but I have high hopes for the third one. So,
Because I got high hopes. All right. Nico and Daddy Beth.
You go first.
It's a for sure let's go. It's a movie for all ages. I would recommend it to anyone.
Nice.
You know what? Just for the sake of it, it's a gotta go. Why not?
Oh,
It's a gotta go. It's a gotta go. You want to know
Dang.
why? Because it should be watched. So it's a gotta go.
wow. All right, man. I was wondering, are we going to get a gotta go? I'm going to go with my initial gut reaction after watching it the first time, and I'm going to be that guy. Me and Matt Ritchie. I'm calling it. It's a go. It's just a go for me. Gal though is always a let's go. She's a gotta go, but this isn't called the let's go.
Gail
This
is always a
let's
gotta go.
She's always a gotta go. Let me tell you.
Gail is never a let's go. She's a gotta go.
Yeah, she's phenomenal
There you
as
go.
Wonder Woman. She owns the role, but the movie overall for me is a go. So, all right, guys, man, thank you guys for doing this. Thank you for joining us here on our live Let's Go Wonder Woman 1984 roundtable. Let's do some plugs real quick. I'm going to tag team y'all the way you should be. Eric shaking his head. He's all, no. All right, Pete and Eric, tell us about your show coming out this week.
We have the latest episode of Straight Outta Gotham dropping this week, so pay attention to those Grundy alerts on Twitter. You can follow me on social media at Instagram, Twitter, and Zack Snyder's favorite, Vero, at Pete Illustrated. Make sure you follow our show accounts, Straight Outta Gotham on Facebook and the Straight Outta Gotham Facebook group. Follow our show accounts on Twitter and Instagram, straight_O_G, and make sure to rate and review us on Apple iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, and you could win this cool holiday.
Oh,
Marvel
look at
trivia.
you plugging, dude.
So make sure to do that. This could be all yours.
Yes,
Nice.
everything Pete said, except you can find me here.
there
At
you go.
Fireman33 on Twitter and Instagram as well. And yes, the latest episode should be probably out tomorrow because we just recorded today, so it should be out tomorrow.
Booyah.
All right, my vigilante guys.
Is that
Drop
a
it.
go?
Oh man, well my Twitter handle's been here the whole time, and theirs has been up above me. My two co-hosts are at least where I'm at on the screen. You can follow our show at Vigilante1939. You can follow Nico and I show that we just started for the Let's Go podcast. Let's Go Marquee. We've had 2 episodes. The second one should be dropping soon, depending on what the boss man does with it. Stay tuned. I have both reviews for Wonder Woman 84 and Pixar's Soul dropping soon on letsgopodcast.com. So be on the lookout for that.
You were busy.
Yeah, it's busy. All right. And then Nico's got a review for Ma
Rainey's Black Bottom.
Yeah, that's coming. That's coming. All right.
Excellent movie. But
Great movie.
All right. Cindy.
Yep, you can. Oops, this way. Here we go. Follow me on Twitter right here.
Opposite way.
I gotta, it's weird. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter right there. That's pretty much where you'll find stuff.
Yeah, but Cindy's gonna be reviewing some of those DC Future State books. We're gonna put her on some.
Oh heck yeah!
Yeah, she's gonna jump on some.
Yeah.
She needs some content. All right.
Oh
Emmett.
my gosh, I thought you said something else. Oh, Justin.
Check the tape. Check the tape. All right, Emmett.
You can follow me right here. You can also on this YouTube channel that you're watching, you can see me and Nico. We talk about video games. # Let's Go Gamers. We just had an episode probably 2 weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago, where we talk about some Last of Us. Again, always, forever. And
Arkham Origins.
Yeah. Shut up. You can follow my stuff on the Let's Go podcast. I got lots of reviews weekly. Thank you.
All right. And Chris?
I'm going to start getting Pete to do my plugs. I like the way he does it.
I got a fan. I love it.
Yeah. You can follow me at
somewhere.
You can follow me there on Twitter, thatchris70. I do comic reviews for Let's Go Podcast. Make sure and follow us there. I got some fun reviews coming up soon. This week, I have the Batman Annual.
Oh, the Batman Annual featuring Not Batman. All right. And Matt Ritchie closing this out.
You can find me on Twitter at Matt Ritchie.
Yeah, plug our next show that we're
Shouldn't you pump all your Marvel reviews? Matt?
I'm so excited.
Tell us about your Marvel reviews.
What's our next show going to be, Matt? What's our next show going to be about?
Our next show is going to be our 2020 in review. We're going to talk about our favorite things from this previous garbage fire of the year. And there's actually some real great bright spots. So I'm actually really excited to talk through it. There's been some really good stuff.
There's some good stuff. All right. You can follow me at J_Rocka. You can follow the show at Let's Go Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. You can go to the website at www.letsgopodcast.com where you can find all of our shows, all of the people that just all the things. All that stuff is there except for the SOG guys. They can go kick rocks somewhere on the East Coast.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Now this is like
when your windshield is bashed in, you know why.
Hey, if I didn't love them, they wouldn't be on the show. So there you go. All right, guys. Thank you guys. Please go and rate the show. Leave some comments in the comments here or go on. This will be on the Let's Go feed as well. So this will be an audio version of the show on the feed sometime this week. So if you're like, hey, I can't watch this while I'm driving, then put it on the, there. So yeah, go ahead and do that. Thank you guys again. Thank you for people in the comments. We will be doing a show very soon again. That being said, my name is Justin.
I'm Nick.
Let's go.
I'm Nerd.
That was just so bad.
Oh, let's work on that for next time.
We're gonna have to redo that, y'all, because remember you have to say your name, and then once.
But it should have been Matt Ritchie first.
Oh,
well, everyone. Free for all.
He's frozen again.
Yeah, he's frozen. He's just smiling. He's frozen. I'm gonna do it one more time. I'm gonna do it one more time. That being said, my name is Justin.
Eric.
My name's Cindy.
Nico. Dead.
Yeah, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Let's
go.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year.